Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last scene of Macbeth, which is Act 5, Scene 9. So, today we'll be going through the line by line explanation of this scene. First, let's go through the overview. So, in this scene, Malcolm, Seward, and Ross enter the castle, and Seward mentions that the victory didn't cost them much lives. Then they realize that young Seward and Macduff are missing. Unfortunately, young Seward had to lose his life where the battle had cost his life. However, he had proved his worth before his death. Then Macduff returns with the head of Macbeth. They all hail Malcolm, the King of Scotland. Then Malcolm promises justice and reward to everyone for fighting the battle and for their loyalty and service rendered to the king. Finally, it is mentioned that the coronation will happen in Scone and the scene ends. So, this story ends with the theme that good always triumphs over bad. It also teaches us about the destructive nature of ambition. Therefore, it is important that everyone follows morality. Otherwise, it ultimately leads to their downfall. Now, let's go towards the line by line explanation. Malcolm says, I would the friends we miss were safe arrived. So, Malcolm is saying, I wish that all of our friends could have survived the battle and were safe. So, Seward says, some must go off. So, it is not possible for everyone to be alive. In every battle, some people must die. And yet, by these I see, so great a day as this is cheaply bought. So he's saying, but judging by the people I see around us, it seems that our great victory did not cost us much lives. That's why he's saying that this great day was brought to us cheaply. Means they found victory very easily and it did not cost them much lives. Then Malcolm says, Macduff is missing and your noble son. So he's telling Seward, Macduff is missing as well as your noble son, young Seward. They are missing. Ross says to Seward, your son, my lord, has paid a soldier's debt. So he's telling Seward now, unfortunately, your son has paid the price that a soldier pays, which is death. He only lives but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died. So, what is Ross telling? He only lived long enough to be a man. And as soon as he proved that he was a man, unfortunately, he died. But he died fighting like a man. So here, unshrinking station means it is a position on the battlefield. He's saying that the young soldier stood and fought bravely without backing off. So here Ross is saying that though young Seward died as soon as he became a man, he died a noble and an honorable death because he proved that he was a man who was not scared but was brave enough to fight Macbeth. Then Seward is confirming, then he is dead. So he's dead. So Ross says, A, and brought off the field your cause of sorrow. So he's saying yes, and he's carried off the battlefield. So now Ross is telling Seward that your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end. So he's saying Your grief should not be equivalent to his worth, because then your sorrow will never end. So don't measure your sorrow by his worth, because if your grief were to equal his worth, then it would never end. So here he tries to tell that his son's virtues were immeasurable. So here what Ross is trying to tell Seward is the extent of a person's grief is not something that can be or should be measured, especially not by the achievements of one who is gone. So Seward asked, had he his hurts before? So he's asking, were his wounds on the front side? Ross says, A, on the front. So he's saying, yes, his wounds were on the front, which proved that young Seward was facing the enemy bravely and had not turned his back with fear. Then Seward says, why then, God's soldier be he. Okay then, so well then, he is a God's soldier now. So he's saying God had taken him in the performance of his duty, and so now I leave him in God's hands. Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death. And so his knell is gnawed. So he's saying, if I had as many sons as I have hairs on my head, I couldn't hope they would die any more honorably than young Seward did. So this shows that Seward is really proud of his son. So his knell is gnawed means knell is the sound of a bell that is rung at funerals very slowly. So he's saying that his bell has been rung, means his death bell has been rung, his time has come to die. Malcolm says, he is worth more sorrow, and that I will spend for him. So he is worth more mourning than what I will do for him. So Seward says, he is worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score, and so God be with him. Here comes newer comfort. So here what Seward says, he is worth no more, means he has died with honor. So no further grieving is needed. They say that he died well and he died while doing his duty, so he has settled his score. With that, here comes better news. Re-enter Macduff with Macbeth's head. So here better news is Macduff coming with Macbeth's head. So Macduff says, Hail King! Hail King Malcolm! For so thou art. Behold, where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. So he's saying, okay, who is a usurper? So usurper is a person who takes control of a position or of authority without having the rightful claim to do so. Often the person does so by force or deceit. That is why he is calling Macbeth a usurper's cursed head. Because he took the position through force as well as through deceit. So he is calling Malcolm the king. So he is saying that is what you are now. Look here, I have Macbeth's cursed head, and finally we are free from his tyranny. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl. So he's saying that I can see that you are surrounded by the kingdom's pearl. So who is he calling the kingdom's pearl? All the people that is good in the kingdom. So all the good people who supported the king. that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voice I desire aloud with mine. So he's saying that you are surrounded by all the kingdom's pearl, and they are thinking the same thing as what I am saying. So I want them to join me in this loud cheer. Hail, King of Scotland. So he wants all of them to join together and hail Malcolm and calling him the rightful King of Scotland. Then all cheer loudly, Hail, King of Scotland. And then the trumpets play. Then Malcolm says, We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves and make us even with you. So here Malcolm says, It won't be long before I reward each and every one of you, and I will definitely repay my debt to all of you by rewarding each one of you for your loyalty and service that you all deserve. My thanes and kinsmen, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland in such an honor named. So he's saying, My thanes and kinsmen, I name you all earls. It is the first honor that Scotland will ever have. So you people are the first earls that Scotland has ever had. What's more to do? Which would be planted newly with the time. Then he says, and whatever else must be done, that the new order of things require would be done. Calling home our exiled friends abroad that fled the snares of watchful tyranny. So, our exiled friends who fled from the trap of Macbeth's tyranny must be brought home. So, we must find them. Producing forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend like queen. So he's saying that we must also find all the evil ministers of this dead butcher, means Macbeth, who helped them in doing all the injustice that they did. So, of this dead butcher and this fiend like queen. So, he's calling his Macbeth's wife demon like queen. So, we should also find them and it must be brought to justice. As it is thought by self and violent hands, took off her life. So he says that we have come to know that Lady Macbeth has by self violently killed herself. And what needful else that calls upon us? And what needful else that calls upon us? By the grace of grace, we will perform in measure, time, and place. So he's saying that, and what else must be done, or what is needful to be done, would be done by the grace of God. And it would be performed in the right amount, at the right time, and at the right place. So this proves that Malcolm indeed is a great king and totally worth succeeding his father. So thanks to all at once and to each one whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone. So he's saying, thank you all once again, and I invite each one of you to come to Scone and witness my crowning as King of Scotland. And the scene ends. So here we get to know that Macbeth is killed, the prophecy is fulfilled, order is restored, where Malcolm is proclaimed as the rightful King of Scotland, and the king promises to reward his loyal supporters and restore peace in his kingdom. However, one can still think about the witch's prophecy that said that Banquo's descendants will become kings, means Banquo's son Fleance, and he had escaped from his father's murderers. So now it leaves the possibility of a further change in the throne. So that is something to ponder upon. However, Shakespeare has ended the story in a positive note. Thank you so much for watching this video and for supporting me. I am praying for each one of you. God bless.